President Abdel El-Sisi has met with Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli and Education Minister Mohammed Abdul Latif to discuss Egypt's education sector progress. Highlights include a record 87.5% student attendance, new curricula incorporating AI, and a UNICEF-backed teacher training program. Plans focus on expanding competitive schools, boosting technical education, and advancing the national reading and writing program, now reaching 1 million students. The new Egyptian baccalaureate system has enrolled 88% of Egypt this year. President El-Sisi also emphasized investing in education, technology, and improving teachers' welfare, advancing a teaching incentive of 1,000 Egyptian pounds starting November 2025. President Abdel El-Sisi has congratulated the former Tourism Minister Khaled Al-Anani on his landslide victory as Director General of UNESCO, securing 55 out of 57 votes. El-Sisi praised the win as a historic achievement for Egypt, the Arab world, and Africa, highlighting Al-Anani's role in promoting cultural dialogue and safeguarding global heritage. The president expressed confidence in Al-Anani's ability to represent Egypt's rich civilization on the international stage. Gaza talks between Hamas and Israel delegations continue for the second day. That comes as the atmosphere surrounding the indirect talks between Hamas and Israel is positive, with cautious optimism prevailing about ending the war in Gaza. That comes as intensive preliminary consultations took place in Doha between Egyptian and Qatari mediators and the Hamas delegation led by Hamas leader Khalil al-Hayya. Egypt's key mediating role alongside Qatar under tight security measures is highlighted. The talks, held under U.S. pressure to reach a deal, focus on securing a ceasefire, easing the humanitarian crisis, and arranging a detainee exchange in line with U.S. President Donald Trump's plan, which he recently expressed optimism about. Egyptian sources said that delegations from Qatar, Turkey, and the United States continue to arrive at Sharm el-Sheikh to participate in discussions on implementing U.S. President Donald Trump's Gaza plan. The sources added that Egypt is intensifying efforts with all parties to reach a clear agreement and define the mechanisms required for its execution. The Egyptian sources added that Hamas has confirmed its readiness to release all living detainees and the remains of the deceased, while requesting clarification on the procedures and guarantees to prevent Israel from resuming aggression. That comes as Egypt has begun reviewing lists of Palestinian detainees from release under the exchange agreement, which include prominent figures such as Marwan Barghouti, Ahmed Sadat, and Hassan Salama, Abbas al-Sayed, and others. Egypt's Foreign Minister Badr Abdel said that Cairo is making significant progress towards ending the war in Gaza, noting that the Sharm el-Sheikh talks are discussing a security mechanism to ensure Israel's full withdrawal from the Gaza Strip. Speaking at a joint press conference in Cairo with Slovenian Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Tanja Fajon, he said discussions also focused on unrestricted humanitarian aid entry through UN channels and advancing a just peace based on the two-state solution. Abdel-Ati added that talks addressed the release of Israeli and Palestinian detainees and the empowerment of the Palestinian Authority alongside preparations for a reconstruction conference for Gaza. Slovenian Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Tanja Fajon has described the humanitarian situation in Gaza as catastrophic, saying the Gaza Strip has been completely destroyed and urged immediate action to end the war. Speaking alongside Egypt's Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati, she reaffirmed Slovenia's support for international efforts to halt the conflict, including the U.S. President's proposal on Gaza, and called for activating all peace initiatives. Fajon emphasized the urgent need for a ceasefire, the release of all detainees, and unrestricted humanitarian access. On the political front, she reiterated Slovenia's firm backing of the two-state solution and total rejection of any annexation attempts in the West Bank, affirming the Palestinians' full right to establish an independent state and calling for an end to Israeli violations.
Humanitarian assistance and continue with the two-state solution. We just came back from New York last week, when we've seen new recognitions of sovereign and independent Palestinian state, and we strongly welcome them.
Egypt Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati has stressed the need for coordinated European and international efforts to pressure Israel to allow unhindered humanitarian aid into Gaza, warning that the enclave faces famine-level conditions. During a joint press conference with Dutch Foreign Minister, Abdulati briefed his counterpart on Egypt's mediation efforts, including hosting indirect talks between Hamas and Israel, linked to U.S. President Donald Trump's proposal. Abdulati invited Dutch participation in Egypt's upcoming reconstruction conference once a ceasefire is reached. He also underscored the importance of protecting Egyptian diplomatic missions in the Netherlands, promoting Nile Basin cooperation under international law, and expanding Egyptian-Netherlands-Africa collaboration and development and humanitarian projects. Dutch Foreign Minister David Van Wiel has described the situation in Gaza as catastrophic after 2 years of war, emphasizing the urgent need to end the cycle of violence and achieve regional stability. Speaking alongside Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati, he called U.S. President Donald Trump's plan a historic opportunity to end the conflict, praising Egypt and Qatar's roles in facilitating Hamas's approval to release detainees. Van Wiel hailed Egypt's key mediating role and affirmed his country's readiness to co-host Gaza's reconstruction conference. He announced 25 million euros in Dutch humanitarian aid and reaffirmed strong bilateral ties with Egypt, highlighting cooperation in renewable energy, migration, agriculture, and digital transformation within a strategic partnership framework.
Ensuring that these individuals receive the care and opportunities that they need. And as mentioned by the Minister, the Migration Hub.
Dutch Foreign Minister David Van Wiel has arrived in Egypt's El Arish city to inspect logistical centers and humanitarian support points dedicated to Gaza. During his visit, he praised Egypt's vital role in evacuating thousands of wounded Palestinians from the Gaza Strip, especially the young children. Van Wiel reiterated the urgent need to end the catastrophic situation in Gaza and called for the release of all detainees. His visit comes amidst intensified international efforts to facilitate aid delivery and support ongoing mediation aimed at achieving a ceasefire and easing the humanitarian crisis. Dutch Foreign Minister David Van Wiel has expressed deep concern over the worsening humanitarian situation in Gaza. During a press conference at the Rafah border crossing on the Egyptian side, he thanked Egypt for its pivotal role in facilitating the entry of humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip and reaffirmed the Netherlands' support for United States President Donald Trump's plan regarding Gaza. Van Wiel stressed the urgent need to bring the war to an immediate end, emphasizing that the continued violence will only worsen the suffering of civilians and undermine efforts towards lasting peace in the region.